What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another FPL video on Fantasy Football Scout. Team selection time with Gianni, as we do every single week after a big double game week. It's a bit more of a relaxed, boring week this week compared to a double, but that always happens the week after. How are you feeling after last week?
Yeah, really good. It was a great week. It was a long week. I must admit, I don't love it when an FPL game week lasts 7 days. But it was great. I can't complain. Loads of fixtures, loads of points. And also, the best thing about game weeks like this is when those that you just don't expect massive returns from get them. The heroes of the game week weren't the highly owned players. It was brilliant. It was fun.
Yeah, we'll come on to that in a sec because you've got one of them. Obviously, someone like James Justin as well. 2 clean sheets. So I thought he'd do all right, but I didn't expect him to get 2. So yeah, he was one of the heroes. But you've got a bigger hero than him, which we'll come on to in just a second. Just before we jump into the team for game week 19, we should just talk about Fantasy 5. If you've not already checked them out, there's a link in the description below. Simple game, really easy. £10,000 up for grabs if you can get it right. You just got to make 5 picks. 1 for each team, and you can see, for example, the points total that I've got on screen for the West Brom and Man City game. So Gabriel Jesus, 6.5 points. If you choose him, he has to get 7 points or more. And the scoring is basically exactly the same as FPL, just without bonus points. So obviously if Jesus gets a goal and an assist, plus his 2 appearance points, that's 9 points, so he would beat his 6.5. Then you just make a pick for Southampton, Arsenal, Chelsea, Wolves, etc. So what I'm going to do is do my picks at the end, and Gianni can tell me what he thinks of them. But if you want to sign up and give it a go yourself, like I said, it's completely free to play. There's no catches. You just make your 5 picks, and then hopefully at the end win 10 grand. So click that link in the description below if you want to sign up and give it a go. Let's take a look at game week 19, and you did great. 125 with a 4-point hit. No, I wouldn't say no chip shoes, but you haven't used the free hit or the second wild card, so you activated your triple captain. And you've got target and stones, which is ridiculous. 45 points for 2 players, 2 defenders costing 5.1 million or less. You must be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I am. I'm really happy with that. Do you know, I actually sold James Justin last week as well. But if I'd played him, I probably would have benched Target. So actually, I'm really happy with that. And yeah, it's the ones that you just don't expect massive returns from. Target looked good. An assist has been coming for him, so I'm glad he got one. And Stones, yeah, I'd like to say the goals have been coming, but I think they're his first Premier League goals for Man City. He scored earlier in the cup, but he was just brilliant. So I've had him for a long time. Cancelo could have been another if, buts, and maybes. Hit the bar from a KDB assist just before KDB went off injured for the second time. But yeah, triple captain on KDB wasn't as good as I expected, but I can't complain because I had such big returns from Stones, Target, and Antonio. So big returns from players you just don't expect them from.
Yeah, De Bruyne was frustrating because, I captained him. I didn't triple captain him, but he's the penalty taker. Man City got 2 penalties in the double game week, and he didn't take either of them. Obviously, Sterling took that one, which we all know what happened there. And then that wasn't a double game week, wasn't it?
That was 18. I think,
was it game week 18?
But
okay,
we did all captain De Bruyne for that as well, didn't we, Andy?
Yeah. Sorry, I got that completely wrong. But yeah, and then obviously the one that Gundogan takes then because De Bruyne is off the pitch injured. So like you can't know that that's going to happen. So 8 points, not the best triple captain, but you've still got your other chips. And to be honest, the amount of times I've messed up my triple captain, it hasn't affected the final rank. It's not. I think it is something we probably worry about too much. Cancelo, like you said though, massively, he's just such a tease. How he has not got more points yet, I do not know. I fully get that some people, have gone Stones and DS because, probably a little bit more nailed on to start. But Cancelo was getting enough minutes, and that second game against Villa was frustrating. But your target comes off before they score the goals, so that's the kind of dream or thing that you hope for. And then to play the second game was just just unreal, wasn't it?
Yeah. Do you know, I saw it. I was like, okay, targets come off, and I knew Man City were going to score. We all were watching that going, it's a matter of time. But because KDB had come off in the 58th minute, that had lost me the clean sheet point and the minute point. So that's 2 points multiplied to 6. So I was like, I felt like in my head I was owed 6 points. So when Target came off for his clean sheet, I was like, brilliant. There's my 4 clean sheet points up to 6 with the appearance. So yeah, it swings and roundabouts. But that was nice. I mean, Villa were really impressive, weren't they? And they could have scored as well. a couple of times. So watching Villa in the double game week has just reconfirmed they are a team that we should be jumping on, and their assets are so affordable. And double Villa defence with Martinez as well. I think I've got Martinez in game week 3, Target in game week 6, around that time. It's one of the best calls I've made this season, the double Villa defence. They've been brilliant for me.
Yeah, so good. Obviously, we were trying to wait and see what happened, obviously, after the whole COVID situation. And it seems like they've come back and they're just the same as before. Because I thought Man City definitely deserved to win that game. They created so much. But Villa did have a couple of really good chances where just that final ball just wasn't there. There was the one, I think they were trying to play it into Grealish from the left. Grealish was on the right and Cancelo cut the passing lane. But, if that was a better pass, which it really should have been in the position they were in, they could have scored easy. So, yeah, Villa's still looking great and great value. Let's move, and we should say Antonio, by the way, 18 points, what a legend.
Yes,
I love that guy. Let's move on to game week 20. So obviously this is just a boring single game week now. We're not having a double game week for a few weeks probably. And you're pretty well set up, to be honest. You've got your double City defence, as a lot of people do now. Double Villa looks good because it's Burnley and they very rarely score. Man United attackers. You've obviously got a couple of problems which we'll come on to first, which a lot of people have got the same problem. One is De Bruyne. We know he is out for apparently 4 to 6 weeks. We'll see if it's actually that long. But he's definitely missing this game week. I think everyone kind of agrees. And also Rashford now potentially is going to miss out. He came off. I said it on Twitter just before he came off. He looked like he was not running properly. In fact, I was watching it with my son. He pointed out, he said, Rashford looks injured. I said, what are you on about? He said, just watch him. He's not running properly. And I tweeted it, so full credit to him. And yeah, so he's having a scan on his knee. So we might not find out exactly what the issue is there because Ollie is not that open in press conferences. So I guess, first of all, let's go to De Bruyne because we know he's out. You've got him on the bench. I'm going to assume with that much money and the fact he's going to miss probably 2, 3, 4 game weeks, you're getting rid, right?
100%. He's gone. It's a real shame. I mean, I haven't made the move yet, but yeah, really annoying because I wanted him for these fixtures. They've got so many double game weeks coming up. We hope, but I've still got my wild card. Maybe I bring him back ahead of that big double game week if he's fit, and then I'm ready to bench boost. And I've got 3 Man City players, but yeah, De Bruyne is going to make way now. It's a pretty simple decision you got to make. Do you replace him with a City midfielder or do you go Grealish or Son? And that's the boat I'm in. My plan was this week I was going to sell Chris Wood to Watkins. That move's not happening anymore. And then next week Rashford was going to go anyway and Son was going to come in. So I might just pull the trigger early on Son. Looking at Liverpool against United, I just feel like they're going to concede against Spurs. I'd be very surprised if Spurs don't score. So jumping on Son a week early probably makes sense. That's the safest bet I have this week. Getting Son. United had loads of chances down that left-hand side, didn't they? Trent against Rashford. It was man against boy there. And I think Son will have loads of joy against Trent as well. Trent is having a shocker of a season, and he's never been great defensively anyway. So going Son in, KDB out makes sense. If I go for a Man City player, it's Gundogan, it's Foden, or it's Bilva. It's a pretty tough one. Gundogan, again, is the safest pick. Penalties, nailed. It would probably be Gundogan, but I think I'm going to steer clear. The problem with City is the points are just shared. When City score, you just don't know who's going to get the points. When Spurs score, 75% of the time, Kane or Son are involved. When City score, probably 10 or 20% of the time, a Gundogan, a Foden or a Bilva are involved. There's a massive spread there. So I think I'm happy to veer away from them despite the fixtures. But I see that Gundogan, and Gundogan makes sense too, doesn't it? You're going Gundogan, are you, Andy?
I'm not sure yet. The other thing I like about Son versus Trent is not only did Rashford do okay on that side, but also McNeil did as well for Burnley. He took it past Trent a few times, and he's probably not having the best time right now. I guess the only thing for Liverpool for me, because I'm kind of having the same debate in my own head, is Matip didn't play against Man United, and I think he will play against Spurs if he's fit, which is always a concern with him, and that will make him strong. Because I think Reece Williams did make a couple. I don't know if mistakes is probably a bit harsh, but a Matip doesn't let the ball go past a couple of times when Reece Williams is involved. So that's the only thing I would say on Liverpool. But I agree. I'm thinking the same. Like I was originally going to get Son in game week 23 for West Brom, but because of everything that's happened, it feels like it's worth just bringing that forward to at least have him for the Brighton game. So bringing him in this week. Yeah, the only thing with Man City, I guess, is the fixtures are just so good. And if you've got a wild card that I'm assuming you're probably going to use it in game week 24 or 25, then it's only a 3-week punt. And then if it doesn't work out, or there's another Man City midfielder that's better, or De Bruyne is back, you can easily make that switch. So what do you think, if you were going to make this, if you had to make the transfer right now because the deadline's in 30 minutes, do you think you'd go Man City midfielder or Son?
No, I'd go Son. Son is just the sensible shout because I know I'm bringing Son in next week anyway. So just going a week early, having watched Liverpool. I think you're right on Matip, by the way. He'll start. Klopp has said he cannot play twice in a week. So it was just his rest day. He's fine, I'm sure. Yeah, I think I'd go Son. It's just going back to the Man City spread of points. They don't get a massive amount of penalties either, so I don't want to rely on Gundogan because he's on pens. And yes, the fixtures are good, but you'll see a very low block, and they might be hard to break down. And I could see it being Sterling, Foden, Bilva, Gundogan. You just don't know. Jesus might come up with the goals, probably not. Yeah. I think I go Son. And the wild card thing, it's a good point you make. Like, you could go Gundogan just for a short-term pick, but yes. In theory, I used a wild card in 25, 26, so I can bench boost in the big double game week in 27. But because we don't know those double game week fixtures yet, I might not need a wild card. I might get a whole team of double game weekers anyway, and just have to make a couple of hits or a couple of transfers that veer towards that. So the wild card might not be necessary, and I don't want to spunk it unless I have to. So yeah, we'll see. I think I'm likely to play safe on Son.
Yeah, and obviously we don't know for 100% that the doubles will happen. It looks almost certainly they'll be in game week 26, so that would be the bench boost week. So you'd have to wildcard 24, 25. But obviously the other players, if you're fine for it, you just roll with it, and then maybe you wildcard in game week 30 after the blank in 29, and then you just set up for the rest of the season, because a lot of people are going to have to build for 29 or free hit in that week and not have a wildcard for the rest. So yeah, there's a few different ways to play it. I guess the question is, if you do De Bruyne to Son, obviously he's going to go in and Lookman's going to be benched, I assume, or Chris Wood maybe. We'll talk about that in a sec. Are you going to deal with Rashford, or are you going to hope for the best?
No, I'm going to wait for the press conference. Ollie doesn't reveal much, but what I'm hoping for is, yes, Rashford is probably going to miss out Sheffield United. I'm hoping he's back the week after, and I could potentially keep Rashford slightly longer because I don't need to get Son in now. That allows me to upgrade the money I save from KDB down to Son. I could upgrade Chris Wood to my boy Dominic. And Calvert-Lewin has got some great fixtures coming. He's got Newcastle in game week 21. Newcastle, the worst team in the league. That's a team I want to target, right? Whoever's playing Newcastle, I want someone against them. For me, they are that all over the place at the moment. So actually, Bamford this week's a great captain shout, I believe. But Dominic Calvert-Lewin for 21, I might ignore the idea of Watkins and go Calvert-Lewin because I'll have the money to do it. Bearing in mind, I have just sold Calvert-Lewin, but he was injured and I needed someone for the doubles and blanks. So yeah, that gives me enough funds to go Calvert-Lewin for Newcastle, which is really nice. And also, Everton are owed so many fixtures, they'll be getting some doubles.
Yeah, I think I really like the Newcastle fixture, but not only that, they also have Leeds the week after, who like to see goals, and then Fulham in 24. So apart from the Leicester fixture, and obviously Man United in 23, the next after Leicester, basically 3 of the next 4 are pretty nice. And Calvert-Lewin is kind of the forgotten man because, like you said, people have had to get rid of him to manage blanks and doubles, and obviously he's just completely gone off, and he was injured, of course, as well. So yeah, not a bad pick. That the thing with Rashford is, we are seeing the point now where Ollie is happy to play Cavani up front, and it seems as he's going to play more and more, which leaves less spots for Martial and Rashford. And Martial was rested in the FA Cup as well. So as long as he's fit, which I'm sure he will be, he can quite easily just play instead of Rashford. So
he's not as good though, is he?
No, you'd want Rashford, of course, but I just think on that left side, like for Sheffield United, if it's like risking Rashford when he's not fully fit or just playing Martial, there's no need to play him. But we'll see. I think Rashford is the better pick, and he would be someone I would want to see. And he also did really well in the reverse fixture against Sheffield United. But then last season, so did Martial. But he was playing up front, so it's hard to say completely. But I guess as always, right now, wait till the press conferences because there could be any amount of news. Your captain's obviously on Fernandes, which I think. I mean, De Bruyne would have made it interesting. the captaincy, because I spoke to a lot of people that were on Fernandes, and I thought, well, I'm definitely on De Bruyne this week. And obviously, the injury has kind of killed that. And I guess if you're not bringing in a Man City midfielder, the only way is Fernandes. You got any chance of moving it somewhere else?
It's Fernandez. I'm gonna be boring and say it's Bruno, and it will stick on Bruno. I must admit, I have considered Bamford, but I just can't afford to be trying to be too clever with my rank at the moment. I don't want to be taking massive risks at the moment because I am seeing the big greens, and I know Bruno's the safer pick. I was like you, Andy. I was sold on KDB. That was KDB all day long for me, but it massively changes with him out, of course. And I do think Man City with KDB out could have some issues against West Brom. We don't know. But yeah, Bruno for me all day long. And it was nice to see Bruno get a little bit of a rest as well. So, he should be ready to go. And he came on and got the free kick in the FA Cup. But yeah, it's Fernandes for me. But I do think Bamford is a really nice differential pick, depending on who you're up against in your mini league and where you are with overall rank. If you fancy a punt, I know Leeds haven't looked good, but they've now had a rest. And this isn't about Leeds not looking great. This is about Newcastle looking championship, and they are championship.
In the reverse fixture, they put 5 past them as well. Not to say that will happen again necessarily, but I agree. I think that Brighton game's going to put quite a few people off Leeds. And obviously the week before that, they also lost to Spurs 3-0, which feels like forever away. But Newcastle was just not as difficult as either of those fixtures, I would say. So, yeah, I quite like the idea of Bamford. But Fernandes just seems so obvious this week. And in FPL, sometimes the obvious pick is just the one to go for. So, yeah. I like that captaincy. One player we should talk about, just quickly, is Mo Salah, who, I did a stream the other day and constantly kept getting told that he needs to be sold. Now he's scored 2 goals in the FA Cup. I think people will probably have changed their tune a little bit. But what do you make of him and Liverpool in general? Because the next 3 fixtures are not awful, but they're also not brilliant. It's Spurs, Brighton, West Ham. Spurs, West Ham, then Brighton, I think, in game week 22. So what's your feeling with Salah? Is it just a case you've got other stuff to do where there's no point in worrying about him? Or do you think there's genuinely a reason to be looking to get rid right now?
Do you know, even before he had scored the goals against United, I always see Salah as the most explosive asset in the game, and one you just don't sell unless there's someone you really feel strongly in that you need the money for. And yeah, I don't mind seeing those blanks. I just think he's one that you sit on and keep. Liverpool haven't clicked this season and they've not looked brilliant. And he had 12 days off and then was benched by Klopp, which we were all really surprised with in the double, because it was Klopp saying to him, look, you've got to pull your finger out or you're not going to be starting. There's a good enough squad here still to have the likes of Origi and Shaqiri come in, So yeah, it was interesting from Klopp. Sort of a little mind game there with Salah, sort of keeping him in line. He dropped Firmino too, but we know he's first choice. The goals will do his confidence a load of good. He's still on pens. Look, Diogo Jota's injury for Liverpool has been massive, and he was really needed at the start of the season, and we saw that. They were relying on Jota's goals, and Jota also made the likes of Mane and Salah better because they were playing for their place. Now they see it as, Shaqiri's going to come in. Yeah, all right. And it was interesting that Klopp still had the minerals to drop Salah, but yeah, he's nailed, and he's still going to get good numbers because he's so greedy and takes so many shots. Even when Liverpool don't click, Salah will still return, not considering selling him at all. And at the moment, we don't really need the money. Like, premiums aren't all delivering anyway. It's not like we've got Aubameyang and we all want to jump on him, or we've got, Sterling and we all want to jump on him. We perhaps don't need the money. The value at the moment is in some of those mid and low price players.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to have a lot of money in the bank this week, especially for everyone doing De Bruyne to Gundogan. So yeah, be interesting to see then. So Fernandes captain. I should really mention as well, because I didn't gloss over it, I just forgot to say it. So overall rank up to 1.6 million, right, which is up nearly 900,000 places in that double game week. So it once again shows just how much can be gained in a double game week if you nail it right. And 121 basically without a chip. And that's pretty much what I scored, I think. I scored that without my bench boost, and then the bench boost put it up to like 140. So we actually both did pretty similarly. And you had Target, I didn't, but I had Stones and Cancelo as well. So yeah, just to quickly mention that. So it's looking good now, and we've still got half a season to go. So there's plenty of points to go for. So, again, I didn't mention Swingo, but that's nearly 1 million rank rise. You must be pretty happy with that, right?
Yeah, I am. I can't complain at all. I mean, 19 was almost a million, and game week 18, I think I had around 500,000. So, um, yeah, I mean, I was in a really horrible place with my 3 million overall rank for so long in the threes, and I don't expect to be in the ones for long. I'm really happy with my team. I don't think my team looks like it should be where it is. I think I should be getting greens and around the doubles and the blanks without using the chips. I used my triple captain, but I didn't use a free hit in blank 18 when so many did, and I still got the average sort of Twitter score. So I'm happy, and I feel like chip strategy has always been so important with good planning. With my second wild card still in the bank, I still believe I can get a top 100k finish. I've finished 8 of my last 9 seasons. I've got top 70k, so I want top 70k, but I'll take top 100. And it looks miles off, but you only need a couple of good weeks. And I still hope I can get there. It's going to be a massive achievement for me if I do get in the top 100k, because I've never had a start like this. So I will see this season getting in the top 100k like previous seasons getting in the top 10k. Like that is a really big bar for me to try and achieve. And I've spoken to some mates about it, and they're like, you haven't got a chance in hell, but I still feel like I do. But it will be close, and maybe I'll finish miles off, but I'm really excited by the challenge. And we're halfway through and there's still so much to play for.
Yeah, I think I was speaking to someone recently as well about saying like you need to reassess like halfway through the season about ranks, because sometimes you do. Like, I've done it before. You just start off and it just feels like nothing goes right, and then you reassess. And I remember doing Scoutcast with Joe, and like one of his favorite finishes is just inside the top 100k because of where he started from. So yeah, it just makes things interesting. So yeah, really nice green arrow last week, and I think it looks good this week as well. Like I'm sure, I'm a Chris Wood owner, and I wish I wasn't, but at the end of the day, you can't have 11 perfect picks every week. And like double defense to City and Villa. I think that looks about as good as it can get this week. So yeah, I think you're looking pretty strong. Let's finish on my fantasy 5 picks. You can let me know where I've gone wrong. So I'll bring that up. So this is the website. If you haven't already checked it out, like I said, there's a link in the description below. Super easy to pick up. It's completely free. 10 grand up for grabs. And so it's Man City versus West Brom. I'm obviously going for Man City players because I know they drew 1-1 in the reverse fixture, but City had so many chances. They don't have De Bruyne, and we didn't really touch on that too much, so you don't know how they're going to play, but West Brom are going to give them chances. So I'm actually going to go just for the boring pick of Gundogan. Because he's on penalties, it's the same score, and he's listed as a midfielder, obviously. So if he gets a penalty, 1 goal, he beats his points total of 6.5. And right now, I couldn't sit here and tell you which other Man City players are going to play. And a lot of them have to get more points than that anyway. So Gundogan is in. I think that's a pretty solid pick, I would say. Southampton versus Arsenal is a bit harder to call because I know Southampton beat Arsenal in the FA Cup, but Arsenal did make quite a few changes, and I feel like they have improved recently. But I'm still backing a Southampton player because I think they will score. And Che Adams, who had a really good season at the start, has kind of tailed off a bit, but he only has to get 1 goal. So I feel like that's fine, yeah? You feel like that's fine?
Looked really good in the FA Cup, Andy, Che Adams. If I've seen a lot of people selling Adams, keep him. Honestly, look really good.
Yeah, so he's in. He only has to get 1 goal. I quite like that. So Gundogan and Adams both 1 goal each. Chelsea versus Wolves is a bit tougher because literally just before we started recording, we saw the rumours that Frank Lampard is possibly going to be sacked. Now, at the time of recording, he hasn't been. But it's one of those things where there's just no smoke without fire, and journalists usually get this stuff right. So if they're saying it's coming, it probably is. But I guess I can go with the whole manager bounce back. So I've actually changed my pick since that news. So I was originally going to go for Pulisic. He's on 7.5 points, so he'd have to get a goal and he'd have to get 2 returns. So would most of the other Chelsea players. I'm not backing Wolves because I just feel like they're not really in a good place either right now. So I'm going to stick, right? If you throw enough mud, I'm going to stick with Werner. He thinks there's a new manager coming in. He's only started 1 of the last 5 Premier League games, which is absolutely mad. Yeah. I think I've got that right. That's absolutely mad. New manager coming in, new manager bounce. I'm going for Werner. I mean, he's not
probably a German man. Probably a German manager. We don't know who it is yet, but Tuchel is favourite, and if not, then Nagelsmann is like 3rd or 4th favourite. So the German manager's surely going to stick with Werner.
And hopefully he's still on penalties. Obviously, he missed the one in the FA Cup,
Yeah.
so we don't know that for sure. But I'm going to go for Werner. I feel like it's gotten to the point now where I just feel sorry for him. I like he's not that bad of a player at all. We all know that, and it's just not gone right. And I know people are starting to say it's another Torres situation, but I'm going for the new. So I'm changing it. It was on Pulisic, but I'm going for Werner. And then Everton versus Leicester is tricky. Just because obviously they're two good teams coming up against each other. Calvert-Lewin would have to get 2 returns, so I'm actually going to go for Maddison. And again, 1 goal would be enough for him. He's not on penalties. It's going to be Tielemans with Vardy out, but he only has to get 1 goal, whereas Barnes would have to get 2 returns. So I think I'm going to go for Maddison. He's on good form. I'm not sure about him as an FPL pick still, but I think just for him to get 1 goal against Everton. Set piece, something like that. He wants to get in the box more, he was saying. So I'm going to go for Maddison, even though I probably wouldn't pick him in FPL. And then lastly, it's Man United versus Sheffield United. So again, originally I was looking towards Rashford, but I just think if there's any sign of an injury like we were talking about just a minute ago, probably don't play him just to be sure. So I'm actually going to go for Martial, because I think he'll play. He got rested in the FA Cup. 6.5 points. He'd have to get 2 returns. But pretty much everyone else apart from Werner only has to get 1. So that's my picks. Gundogan against West Brom, Che Adams against Arsenal, Werner against Wolves, Maddison against Everton, and Martial against Sheffield United. What do you think? Any I've really messed up there?
Yeah, I like them all. Other than probably, I don't know, I'm not a massive fan of Leicester at the moment without Vardy. So I'd probably go, instead of Maddison, I'd probably go for a Dominic Calvert-Lewin or even a James or even an Andre Gomez. The 3 of those guys looked really good last night for Everton. So impressed with Everton, actually. I've not seen them play that well for a couple of months. I know it was only Sheffield Wednesday, but other than Luka Dean, it was their strongest 11, and Richarlison was clicking. Andre Gomez and James did really well in the midfield. James was making those passes that he was making like game weeks 1 to 5, and we're all going, that's a world-class player. And then Calvert-Lewin got his goal, and yeah, they just look really good. And I always think they're quite sound at the back. I think Everton will beat Leicester this weekend, this midweek. So yeah, I like Everton. They're a team I'm looking at for game week 21 when they play Newcastle.
Yeah, maybe I'll go back and rethink that. So I should say, once you confirm your picks, you can go and change them before the deadline. So, yeah, I might rethink the Maddison one, because I forgot about Vardy. I completely forgot he's not in, and I don't really fancy him as an FPL pick anyway. So maybe I'll go back to Everton. And like you, I had James Rodriguez early on, and he was brilliant. So, yeah, maybe that's something to change. But if you want to give it a go, literally just 5 picks, super easy, 10 grand up for grabs. Link in the description below. And once you've made your picks, you just confirm the selection, and then that is it. You can go back and change it. So if you want to check that out, click that link in the description below. Otherwise, Gianni, thank you very much as always for joining me this week.
Thank you, mate. Look forward to catching up later in the week. Yeah, a good short game week we've got, haven't we? It's only the Tuesday to Thursday, which is quite nice.
Yeah, I must admit the double game week was long, and it felt long, and that's the only good thing. Yes, we haven't got double game weeks now, but we do have a lot of fixtures. So literally 9 of the 10 fixtures are done by Wednesday night. It's just the Liverpool Spurs game on Thursday, and then the next deadline is Saturday. So they're going to come thick and fast. I'm sure we'll get talking before game week 21 as well to decide what we're going to do. If you've enjoyed the video, hit that like button, hit subscribe if you're new around here as well. We'll be back later on tonight with the Scoutcast. Joe and Co will be on for that, and obviously we'll have team news tomorrow, and then me and Gianni will be back later on this week to see what's happening in game week 20 and look ahead to game week 21. So we'll catch you soon. Thanks for watching, and like I said, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already.